Welcome back to What to Drink Before You Die. Che cazzo, another Italiano. Yes, indeed, another Italian. Because, I'm sorry, it's just so good. Especially this one. And not just good, but man, is this rare. We're talking about Borgogno, probably the most seminal, important, quintessential winery of Piedmont, right? But this one is even crazier. It's the Cesare. Now, this is a wine that was released apparently only 4 times. I've only ever seen 2. And this was actually one of the first that ever came out, the early release as it was called. And what's crazy about this one is it's a blend. No, not of vineyards. Oh, no, that would be too easy. A blend of vintages. What insanity. Yes, imagine you take one of the most insanely delicious, awesome Barolo and you multiply it by 4 from drastically different vintages and spanning decades. So you might know this process in Champagne. You might know it in one of my favorites, Vega Sicilia, right? Which was known to do with the Riserva Speciale. But in Piedmont, unheard of, indeed. But this all goes back to the legacy of Cesare Borgogno, whose incredible idea it was, going back to the 1920s when he started building one of the largest library stocks of any winery, and certainly winery in Italy. He had the foresight to realize that these wines were so incredible that they could probably benefit from 20, 40, 60, or 100 years of aging, which is why it's a little bit easier to find some of these old vintages of Borgogno than many other Barolo producers, who probably didn't start doing that until after the sort of modern revolution, which didn't really happen until like the late 1980s. So to sort of pay an homage to Cesare, they decided to take 4 legendary vintages, pop the corks, and reblend them to a crazy limited edition. I mean, we're talking about, I think something like 50 or 60 bottles of this made it into even markets like the UK. An entire market, right? Gets a handful of bottles. I mean, the fact that I'm even sitting here with one is pretty nuts. This is a blend of the legendary 1982. Warm, generous, powerful, forward, was just a delicious vintage even upon release when it came out. Up to the 96, another classic, but for different reasons. Just absolutely slammed shut, locked down when it came out. Just insane tannins, structure for days, and those wines needed, well, basically until now to start unraveling, and they're definitely not finished yet. Over to the 98 and the 04. 98 being a little cooler, bringing a little acidity, a little bit of edge, a little bit of cut to the equation. And for me, the 04, which was always a wonderful, earlier drinking, sort of fresh, delicious vintage, which had sort of some of the characteristics of all the other 3 in a modern sense. Now you calculate that all of these 4 wines were blended during a completely different stage in their evolution, different styles of winemaking, different oxidation, different tanks, different time in the bottle, and you put it all together and you get this like super Barolo. It's like one of those like 4 famous rock stars come together and form like a super group, which actually normally kind of suck. But in this case, holy crapola, it is unreal. And considering that the oldest wine in this mix is 82 and it's still so youthful, just speaks to me more volumes from the idea that in the right scenario, old wines can seem so young, and at various stages in their time, they can display themselves so youthfully and so exuberant and vibrant. It's seriously remarkable. The song playing in my head right now is Roller Coaster as the Red Hot Chili Peppers played it. Because there's just like, there's so much going on, but it's an intellectual roller coaster. Like, this is not the kind of Barolo you pop open to be like, oh yeah, that might be nice to pizza. I mean, hey, I'm relaxed. I'll drink anything with anything because I just love wine that much. But this really needs some attention, man. This is like next level. Unfortunately, not many winemakers think this way. I wish more wineries would think, hey, what if we just blended some vintages together and we get this from this and that from that, and we put them together and it's like, boom, 1 + 1 = 3. I wish it happened more, but unfortunately it really doesn't. But every once in a while you see something like this, and man, if this ain't worth putting on your bucket list, I don't know what is. If you've ever had one, drop it in here. I really want to know your impressions. If you haven't, put it on your list. Either way, we'll see you next week with another monument on what to drink before you die.